Hi guys, welcome to part 10 of the data analysis and dashboard building using Microsoft Excel. Today we will learn about slicers and timeline. In this Excel worksheet, raw data worksheet has a sales record of the Oregon company from January 1, 2021 to June 30, 2022. So this is the raw data worksheet where we have all this information, right? And if I click here in any of the cell and go to table design, we will see the name of the table, which is Oregon sales. Now because this is a table, we don't need to select the columns to create the pivot table anymore. We can just go to dashboard, click here, and then go to insert pivot table, and I'll write Oregon sales and then click OK. We are creating an existing worksheet, so and this cell is already selected, so we are going to create the pivot table here. Click OK. Now Excel has already identified the table, and Excel has created this pivot table based on that Oregon sales table. You can see all the column names here, right? So now we are going to create the slicer for year, quarter, and month. Okay, so what we will do, we will drag the date here, and you can see there's years and there's date. So by date here, Excel means month. So see, these ones are 2021 and January, but we need quarter as well. So what we will do, we will right click here, select this January, right click here, click on group, and you can see year, quarter is not selected, years and months are selected. That's why we don't have quarter information. So we will click on quarter, and we have other options as well, days, hours, minutes, seconds, which we don't need at this moment. We need years, quarters, and months, and we will click OK. Now you can see we have all this information. So for this example, we will just calculate the revenue for this year, quarter, and month. So we will drag the revenue, put it in values. Again, we don't like this format. We will select the entire column. We will click here and select currency. We also had the option to create accounting, but you will see that when I'm selecting currency, the dollar sign is very close to the amount, and if I see accounting, you will see the dollar, there's a space which some people don't like. So I'll select currency, I prefer no space, and then I'll remove the decimals. So this is my amount. So in year 2021, 79 million, quarter 1, 21 million, quarter 2, 17 million, quarter 3, and so on, right? And then we have the 2022 information. Now we will create the slicers. We don't need this information, so we will go to filter, and then we will hide selected item. So this will hide this blank cell. So now we need to create the slicer. For creating slicer, what we will do, we will click anywhere here and then go to pivot table, analyze, and then we will click on insert. We need the date, which will be basically for months, and we need the quarter and year. We will click OK, and now you have slicers for all these. Slicers are basically slices of pivot table that helps you to navigate. So for example, I just need the 2021 information. I'll click here, and this will only show, if you go down, you will only see there is no more 2022 information. What I'll do, I'll select the quarter. So for 2021, I need only quarter 1 information. In quarter 1, I'll only need January information, right? So this is what pivot table will display you. Now suppose we want the range. Okay, so 2021, we suppose quarter 1, we need only January and February information. So what we will do, January is already selected, so I'll hold Control and click on February. So now you will have February information. Now suppose I only want to see quarter 1 and till quarter 3 information. I don't need quarter 4, suppose. So 2021 is already selected. Now I'll go select select control 1, select quarter 1 and hold control shift and then select quarter 3. This will select the entire range in between. So when you are clicking on control and pressing left mouse button, in that case you are only selecting one by one. So if I select control, if I select quarter 1 and then hold control and select quarter 3, is going to select quarter 1 and 3 only. If I hold control shift, in that case is going to select the entire range. So control quarter 1, control shift, quarter 3, this is how you operate in slicers. And similar way in quarter 3 you can do up to January, control shift till May, you will be able to see all this, right? So this is how you use slicer to see slices of pivot table. This helps you quickly grasp the data. Okay, so I'll remove all these filters and now we will go back here because we are going to learn how to operate timeline now. So to see timeline, what we will do is we will create a timeline like this. Go again, click on the pivot table, go to pivot table, analyze, and then insert timeline. Okay, so this is date, so we will click OK. Now we have all the dates. Now the good thing about this is by default it's in months, but we can select year as well. So if I select year, say if I select only 2021, you will see only 2021 is selected. I can go to quarter, I can go to months. So if I want to see, say April, only you will see only April information. I can drag this scroll bar and go left, right, and this way I can select the range, right? So this is much easier to operate. So you can just select the range and you will be able to see all this information, the selected information. So why do we need, like, what's the difference between slicer and days timeline? So timeline is easier to operate, but there's a pitfall in timeline. Timeline is very linear. You cannot really compare apple to apple, right? So I'll show you how. So if I put the timeline here, slicer here, suppose I'll remove everything, I'll click the pivot table. What I'll do, I'll drag the years here. So now I have this comparison, quarter month, what we did last year January, what we are doing this year January, what we did last year February, what we are doing this year. So by this method, if I select January now, you can see that you can see side by side. Now we can go even further. For example, we can drag the revenue again, then put the years here, and then right click here, show value as difference from, I want to see difference from previous years. Now you can see, let's hide these two columns because these do not have any data, so let's hide this. Now you can see the absolute numbers and the changes, right? I only selected show value as different from an year, previous year. So this is how you can see. So from last year January, we are up 7%. From last year March, we are down 12%. This way you can make comparison with last year. But if you are using only timeline, you won't be able to make this comparison. You will only see either 2021 data, whatever range you are selecting, or 2022 data, whatever range you are selecting, right? You won't see this comparison. So that's the problem. The last thing is total sum of revenue. Total, this basically means that it's totaling up 2021 and 2022. These 2 years combined, you are getting 43, which not many people need. I don't care how many we are earning revenue, because we are interested to see only yearly revenue, not like last 3 years revenue combined. So in order to hide this, what you can do, click anywhere in pivot table, go to design, and then go to grand total. So you don't want the rows to combine, you want to see columns combine only. This way you won't see the combined data here. Instead, you will only see for columns. So I hope you like the video. If you want to continue watching this series, if you think this series is helpful for you, please follow me on LinkedIn and please subscribe to my YouTube channel.